Hello, everyone, and welcome to Bxb'S Bits and Bobs episode 47. This is our pre-E3 prediction show predominantly, but we've got lots of news and silly films we've been probably watching on Netflix to talk about as well. But first of all, I want to welcome back our regular contributor, Joel, who's been away on 6 or 7 or 10 or 11 different holidays recently. I lost track, Richard, to be honest. He's just a jet-setting, traveling, crazy man. Welcome back, Joel.
Cheers, thank you. It was only 2 holidays, actually.
Only 2?
I've grown a beard in the time that you've been away.
I can see.
That's how long it has been, and I've turned into a trucker.
I now feel like the odd one out. I'm beardless compared to you two.
Yeah, exactly. What are you doing? Join the club. I'm doing long haul trucking now. That's my new job. And I'm not playing Xbox games. Just got back from Prague. Really lovely city. Richard, what have you been doing? We know Joel's been on holiday. Have you been just working like crazy?
Just working, new job.
Yeah.
Not as exciting as your life, Joel. I'm afraid.
So where did you go, Joel?
So first holiday was 10 days in Cyprus. So went to this luxury Cypriot resort that was the most expensive place on earth I think I've ever been. It was we got there. It was just like, oh my god, this is so expensive. I was expecting kind of London prices, but it was like 2 times London prices. It was nearly 9 euros for a beer. So that kind of put a little bit of a downer on it because you couldn't just relax and enjoy yourself and keep ordering drinks. So in the back of my mind, it's just like, oh crap, how big's this bar bill going to be? How big's this bar bill going to be? But yeah, the hotel was lovely. It was lovely. There was really nice weather. Really nice staff and stuff like that. So we did enjoy it.
So it was like a closed sort of thing. You didn't leave the resort.
Yeah, it's quite remote. So my sister and my wife picked the hotel, and basically, so my dad retired and got his retirement lump sum, and as part of that, he was like, I want to take all my family on holiday, and so he was paying for us to get there and for the hotel and everything. So yeah, my sister and my wife picked this hotel, and it's like we're chatting to some of the staff members and things. We're just like, God, does no one else moan about the price? He's just like that. The kind of people here come here don't really care much about money, and it's just like, well, who goes here then? He's just like, we have lots of wealthy Russians and stuff come here, and he was like, lots of footballers and stuff, and we're like, oh yeah. So what footballer and stuff? And so he said Harry Kane, the Tottenham striker, an England striker, had been there recently and stuff, and that's when I was like, yeah, shit, I shouldn't be in this hotel. I'm not that wealthy. So
unless you're planning on doing the world a favor and having some kind of killing spree and taking out all these footballers, no, it's probably not worth going.
No. So it like I say, it was nice. You can't fault the hotel. The staff, it felt like there were like 5 staff members to every sort of guest there and stuff. It was, and they had built-in childcare and all that kind of things. It was really nice, but yeah, it was just the cost of stuff was so pricey. So we ended up getting a taxi into to the local village and town and sort of eating there basically most of the time, which kind of was a lot better because that was about down to like 1 or 2 euros a beer. So it was easy to enjoy yourselves in the evening. But
Jesus Christ.
So that was the first holiday, and the second trip was my annual piss up to Belgium with my group of friends. So we went there and did what we always do: visit breweries, lots of pubs, drink lots of Belgian beer, get excessively drunk, eat lots of food. So yeah, lots of chips and steaks.
I guess, Richard, our invitation was lost in the mail. Yeah, to his annual piss up with his group of friends.
Absolutely.
Got damn Royal Mail.
Category we're in now.
Damn it. Yeah. And didn't you do something super nerdy with Mark? Don't pretend you didn't. Don't try and not be picked on for being the Transformers nerd, Joel. I'm sure you.
I haven't done that yet. That's coming up in.
I thought that was all back to back.
No. So, that's in August. The Transformers thing. So you go to Transformers Con, and they've got Stan Bush playing live. So Stan Bush did some of the original tracks for the original manga Transformers animated film. It's like one of my favorite films, and we're gonna go. He's playing live, man. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Not that I expect either of you two will give a shit, but yeah, it's like possibly the most I've ever looked forward to like a live music event in my life.
That's okay. That's the thing. Good. I guess it would be a big deal if I got to see, I don't know, like John Williams lead the London Philharmonic or something, doing Star Wars or something like that. That would be kind of like, that would be crazy. That would be, I could understand that, as it were. So it's something like that, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. Basically.
I get you. I get you. And that's after Mark comes to us and we do this epic D&D campaign, which we're going to live stream, by the way, Joel. No, we're not really. No, we're not. But Mark was like, do you want me to bring bring some digital recorders so we can and cameras? Do you want to record it for BXB? And we could do like a performance D&D thing. Because that is weirdly popular online now, I've heard. But I think I'm a bit new to it. Before I'm not ready to cosplay and D&D at the same time. Do you know what I mean? I feel like that's what Mark would expect from that sort of production. That's the actor in him.
Are you sure that's the part of it you wanted to video, Ben?
When we're all smashed, yeah, probably. There'll probably be some events. You're still doing this at your place, Joel? Can't wait. It's gonna be great. I'm really looking forward to it. Now that I've played some. I don't know if we've spoken, have we? Because you were away. But yeah, I obviously did some D&D with Mark when I visited.
Yeah. You visited. So
that was my first time.
He said he'd broken you in.
Yeah, baby. Not for the first time. Oh yeah. So Richard, feel free to come down for that. Still trying to get you to visit one of these days. Because now you can't deny it because we're all in Cambridge, and it's like you. The sort of onus of visiting is on you, Mr. Warren.
Well, it's obviously down to me to do it, yeah. But
yes.
Later this year, I'll have a car, and this will be possible.
I'm excited, man. Well, yeah, we were talking about maybe episode 50, but I think that's coming up rather quickly now, isn't it? We're on 47 already, and now E3's happening. Oh man, it's crazy. So, how have we been for our? What did I call the streaming segment? I'm trying to remember. I did put it something. A streaming good time. How's everybody's weeks of Netflix been? Now that
I've been kicking the ass out of Detectorists. Either of you guys seen this?
This is the BBC thing about metal detectorists, yes?
Yes, with Mackenzie Crook out of The Office and Pirates of the Caribbean and that. And I thought it would be some sort of Office wannabe sort of thing, and it's got the sort of vibe of. I suppose it's not as silly as The Office, but Mackenzie Crook has written and directed this. As you say, it's about metal detectorists. I went into it thinking it would be just making fun of this niche hobby and how sad these people are. But actually, you really grow to love the characters. And I couldn't get enough of it. I've just watched it back to back this week. I've watched all 3 series.
Is this a new hobby, Richard? It sounds like a approaching middle-aged man kind of hobby that you might be taking up.
Embarrassingly, yeah. It has crossed
is that a metal detector propped up against his fridge behind him?
Oh, he's gone. Gonna be down the beach and then walking across farmers' fields without permission and just trying to find that Roman sack of gold that's in every field you find in Britain. Yes. I think it's weird because I watched that terrible show with the wife because she absolutely adores it on I think it's Nat Geo, The Curse of Oak Island.
Right.
You guys ever come across this? The one with supposedly there's this island in Nova Scotia which has had all this weird shit that's been going on it over hundreds of years, and there's meant to be a shit ton of buried treasure there. So it's all about these guys that are trying to find it. And yeah, there's a lot of metal detecting in that. So weirdly, I've seen some metal detecting as well recently on TV, but it does look deathly boring. No, it looks so boring.
Oh, you need to see the Detectorists. The Detectorists make it seem really romantic and fun.
All right.
But yeah, it's much more about the characters, and I think you'd like it.
It's a comedy, isn't it? Is it a comedy or a dramedy? Or
it is a comedy, but it doesn't, like I say, it doesn't make fun of the characters or the hobby. It's quite subdued. The jokes are understated. But yeah, it's worth a watch. It takes a couple of episodes to get into the vibe of it, but it's really good.
In other hilarious side-splitting shows that I see on the notes here that Joel has been watching 13 Reasons Why 2, which is obviously the funniest show going because it's all about teen suicide. So, Joel, is season 2 just as good as season 1?
So I watched the first episode and I couldn't get into it. Because
she's still dead.
Well, yeah, obviously, because the first series was all about the aftermath of the event and people picking, what actually happened afterwards, and these tapes and the people picking up the pieces and stuff like that. It's like life after, basically. And now this is the aftermath of the aftermath.
Brilliant. So it's just a teen drama.
I've watched the first episode. It hasn't clicked with me. My wife's carried on watching it, and she says she's enjoying it, and it gets quite good. I think she's up to like episode 6 or 7 now. And another one of my friends I spoke to said, yeah, they've watched it and they really enjoy it. It gets better. So I don't know if I'm going to go back and try, and maybe it was just a really bad first episode. It just didn't really capture me. So
it sounds like you're in the same place I am with like TV shows. If it don't grab you in 1 or 2, then there's just too much shit out there, isn't there? It's just like you can't, why bother hitting your head against that wall? And I can't think of a witty segue to pivot into why I've been watching Towering Inferno, other than I was inspired by the trailer for the new Dwayne Johnson movie, which he seems to be doing a remake of Towering Inferno crossed with Die Hard. And I was like, do you know what? I'm gonna see if this is available to stream anywhere. And it was on Amazon. And I was like, yep, I'm gonna watch this. That is still an amazingly good disaster movie, and the cast is incredible. I'm guessing you've both seen Towering Inferno from the 70s.
I don't think I've
at some point when you watched it. You've never heard of Towering Inferno. Look it up and be blown away by who the fuck is in this movie. It's like, if you think about it made nowadays, it would be a B movie. Steve McQueen, Paul Newman. It's mad, and the list just goes on, and you just recognize
O.J. Simpson.
Yep. O.J. Simpson is a security guard in this. That I kid you not. Have you not seen it, Rich? Have you seen Towering Inferno?
I've seen.
Maybe when you were a kid.
When it's on, I've seen bits of it when it's on TV.
Yeah.
I prefer the Poseidon Adventure. I think
that is, I would say, the better disaster movie of that era. I will give you that. Again, great cast in that as well.
Yeah.
But it's still a very good watch, Towering Inferno. And if you want to get yourself ready for Dwayne's movie, which I can't, is it called Skyscraper?
That's
Something
it.
like, is it called? It is. Yeah, it's super generic, isn't it? In the title. Oh my God. But it's cool because he's making such a big deal out of it, making handy capable shit. So that his character in it he's missing his leg below the knee. He's a vet, he's been injured, and it's these people are still people, and they can still be additive to society. So it's kind of a bit of he's doing a very positive message from that. And I who doesn't love Dwayne The Rock Johnson? He's just the best. I'm definitely going to see that film. But Towering Inferno, if you're looking for a classic disaster movie with incredible actors who shouldn't be in a movie like that, but absolutely fucking brilliant because they are. Steve McQueen is they're all good in this. Paul Newman's very good as well. So worth watching for that, definitely. It's on Amazon. Check it out. You guys have watched a film I haven't seen, but obviously have heard very, 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 very positive things about. Is it as good as they say? 3 Billboards?
Yes.
I really liked it.
Is it funny?
Really good.
Weird question. Is it funny?
Yeah, it is funny in places.
Yeah.
It is funny.
Okay.
I don't think you go into it for the comedy though. It's quite tragic.
It's about a girl who gets murdered and her mother's campaign to find justice. Is that correct?
That's it. Yeah, and it sets up the police chief in the small town that the mother lives in as the villain of the piece. So the 3 Billboards ask why this police chief hasn't arrested anyone since the rape and murder of her daughter. And I guess the film is pretty much about perceptions of good and bad, and when you're on the right side of something and other people are opposing you, you can't really see anything good in them. So it sets up the police chief as this awful guy, and actually develops into something quite different. So it shows you different sides of these characters and exposes the misdirected motivations that they all have. And it's quite clever in the way that it deconstructs each of their characters, and you think, why are you doing that? If you just listen to this other person, you'd realize you're in the wrong here. And it doesn't in terms of the plot, it doesn't really resolve very much. It just explores those motivations and the relationships between them. But yeah, it's worth a watch. Enjoyed it.
It's definitely on my list. I guess you guys bought a rental or bought it on it's not streaming free, is it?
No, I bought it on Xbox Video.
I rented it on Amazon.
Yeah, I figured what we should do is we start talking about this stuff, we should talk about where we find it as well.
Yeah.
I think that might be a good idea to help people, point them in these directions and stuff. I got a $1.99 rental on Amazon of Pitch Perfect 3 because I have a strange soft spot for those films. It's not strange. I have a thing for singing films that aren't musicals. Don't like musicals, but I like these sort of like Glee and things like that for some unknown reason. It doesn't hurt that Pitch Perfect is full of attractive women, like everywhere. So, and also very funny and great, and I really enjoyed it. And I know people really bag on it. And the weirdest thing for this sequel is that it starts off with, this is a series of films all about like female empowerment and you know, being to achieve their dreams and stuff like that. And it starts off with every single cast member has failed in life, and it's a bit strange. It's like, oh, so they've all got out of college and now all their lives suck. And it's like, oh, that's super, super depressing. But it gets better from there. It has a hilarious action scene in it later in the third act of the movie. I'm not going to go into the plot and bore you all to tears, but if you like the first two, I think you'll like the third one. Have you guys watched Pitch Perfect?
No.
I've seen the first one. My wife loves it, and she's watched it quite a lot, and a couple of my friends also quite enjoy it. So yeah, it's just not my cup of tea, really. So
God, you're just all dead inside. You watch your movies about girls that have been raped and murdered and stuff like that. You watch that. I'm gonna watch the singing films. So there. Right, Joel. Me and you have watched Solo. Richard has not watched Solo. I will give you a hand gesture, Richard, something along the lines of, you know, that or something. I don't know. When you can come back. So we're gonna have a little chat. Okay. What did you think, Joel?
So, I, as a person who absolutely detested The Last Jedi, actually really enjoyed Solo. I thought it was really good. It was a perfect. This is exactly what the kind of thing I want Disney to do. These side stories that have very, you know, very subtle references to canon in places, but yeah, just side standalone stories basically that that work well. They fit in the timeline. It makes sense to me, and they're good fun and stuff. I thought again, but it's kind of common in films these days. I find the action sequences can be a little over the top in places, but yeah, other than that, I really enjoyed it. I went to the cinema. The expectations were really low. I waited to get some feedback from some friends who went to see it. I didn't, and they told me, yes, it's good. It's worth going to see. So that's when I made the jump and went to cinema last week to see it. So how about yourself?
Right. I didn't dislike Last Jedi. I actually really liked Last Jedi. However, on watching it subsequently on 4K and things like that, I definitely think it course corrected too far away from the core formula of Star Wars. It was too much too quick, and it was a reaction to the Force Awakens reaction. I think the way they went so hard. However, Solo is, look, let me first of all say this: I enjoyed my time watching Solo. I do not regret watching it. However, it is the most unnecessary Star Wars film so far, and it's definitely my least favorite of the Disney era of Star Wars movies.
Wow.
I thought it was fine. I of course loved all the obscure references as a massive Star Wars nerd. Terrace Cassie comes to mind. The amazing reveal at the end of the film was amazing and tied into the Clone Wars and Rebels in a way that I never expected really from a Disney movie, and I thought that was great. I've been hoping for that. I'm hoping for those tie-ins because I love those TV shows, and we've not had one yet really. But yeah, the Terrace Cassie reference, you know, fucking obscure PlayStation 1 fighting game reference. Who thought that was going to happen? I absolutely loved that. But at the same time, I liked the performances. I thought Han was fine. I thought Emilia Clarke was as boring as usual, but probably a bit better than usual, to be honest. I thought Lando was amazing. Donald Glover is like the most charismatic person on the planet right now, and you couldn't look away from him. I just thought it felt to me like an expanded universe novel 5 or 6 years ago, or maybe 10 years ago. It felt fun. It felt like a good time, but it felt utterly unnecessary. And it doesn't add anything to the canon of any of the characters or any of the events of any of the previous films. Unlike Rogue One, which helps you frame A New Hope in a completely different light, Han Solo, or Solo, just, well, yeah, it's all just like, well, duh. Of course he had a mentor figure that was kind of like Han Solo later on, who sort of put him on this path of being that kind of scoundrel. Yeah, and of course he's got a heart of gold that he tries to keep hidden, you know, to survive in this galaxy. We knew all of that from his original trilogy stuff, you know, that none of this is new. None of the characters develop off the back of this. It's not a bad film. It just feels like I would have rather seen, I don't know, a Boba Fett movie or something that actually had an effect on my perception of those characters. But, you know, I had a good time. But if I'm being super critical, I can kind of there's a lot of valid criticisms here, I think, about Solo.
Yeah, so our views, I know our views differ on The Last Jedi and stuff, but I actually felt personally that it was I think it's my favorite of the 4 Disney movies that they've made so far.
More than Rogue One.
Yeah, I had a few. I liked aspects of Rogue One quite a lot. And don't get me wrong, I don't think anything. The majesty of seeing the Death Star orbiting around that planet was just every time I see that, I love such a thing of beauty. I know it's such a weapon of destruction, and it sounds creepy, but yeah, I love that. No,
it makes sense.
Yeah, it was just I think the battle at the end of it was a little bit cheesy, but like I say, I think Solo was a lot better. I felt like you say, it was standalone. It kind of everything in it made sense. And I also liked. I thought they did well to give. Obviously, we knew certain aspects of Han Solo's character and stuff, but they did well.
They didn't add anything to it.
Well, if you think about it, they didn't add much to it. I guess they just added some background that explains why he might have. His heart of gold.
Do you need to find out why he's called Solo?
Why he why he shoots first, for example, where he learned to do that kind of stuff. Yeah, I think it shows him learning from Woody Harrelson, and yeah, it's
we'd all love to learn from Woody Harrelson.
Yeah. So. He was in Three Billboards as well. He's my actor of the moment. He seems to be in everything I watch. Yeah. So,
but no, I mean, like I said, I enjoyed it. I just didn't. I had very few whoop moments, when or hype moments where I'm sitting watching an action movie or a Star Wars film, I expect it, or a Marvel movie, and I'm like jumping out of my seat almost, and I'm like really excited about the action or really excited by a reveal. The only one I got really was from Darth Maul. At the end, that's a huge spoiler, by the way, but hey, we're talking about it, so what can you do? But I just felt like it felt to me like there wasn't actually growth into that character, really. It all just felt like hitting the beats to establish why he is the way he is, but we didn't need any of that. You don't need any of it explaining to you. It's all self-evident from Harrison Ford's performance in the original trilogy. Nothing against the kid who did this performance. I thought it was good. He was very good. Everybody was good in this film. But it just left me kind of cold. I'd rather see. I think what it is with me, and the difference between me and you, Last Jedi and Han Solo, for example, is that even if the film maybe you don't agree with all the points, I like to see a director taking risks. I like to see films pushing the envelope of the genre or the franchise. And Last Jedi definitely did that. Whereas Han Solo seemed to do the exact opposite. Ron Howard's direction, what I was always worried about when he came on. He is safe. He is safe pair of hands. And that's why he got the job. That in his relationship with George Lucas. And it's like, he definitely went, Kathleen, don't worry. I'll make this exactly as you want. And he didn't try anything new. And it just felt, fine.
I can respect high risk from directors, but I like it framed with respect to the way I feel that the story kind of should be going.
I believe
that's why I didn't like The Last Jedi. I didn't think it was respectful.
I believe in the need to fuck respect. It's not about respect. It's about putting your ideas and your spin on a product. If you're given the reins, fucking run with it. That's why I like what Rian Johnson did with Last Jedi, and clearly that's what Kathleen Kennedy liked, because the boy is now heading up a whole new trilogy. So it's kind of like, I don't think Ron Howard's getting a trilogy off back of Han Solo, and the fact that it's relatively bombed in the box office means we will not get any sequels that expand upon these kind of characters that were established in Han Solo.
I personally think it's bombed because of The Last Jedi.
No,
suffering from the fallout from that. Yeah. That's my opinion.
No, it's bombed.
I didn't want to go because of The Last Jedi until I heard from other people that it was good and worth seeing. And
I think it's more likely. It's more likely that they've cannibalized their own viewership by bringing it out so close to Infinity War and bringing it out so close to Deadpool. There's too many films to go and see, and that's what I'm hearing a lot from my friends and stuff. We went to see Deadpool. Star Wars is going to have to wait. And I think because it's this weird prequel film, it's not capturing people's excitement the way a mainstream sort of trilogy Star Wars film would. So I think people are saying, we'll watch it on DVD and stuff like that. For whatever reason, it's not going to get the sequels that clearly is setting up. with that reveal at the end with Darth Maul, with so many of the character beats with Lando and things like that. They're clearly saying, oh yes, we'll come back to this. Nah, you won't be, I don't think. Sorry guys, sorry Ron. I just don't think they're gonna take that risk on you. Maybe in a long time, you know, if it's been a while, maybe they'll give it. But you know, there's so many other Star Wars movies coming. Yeah, it's too close to Last Jedi, regardless of your feelings of Last Jedi, for it to come out, you know, this soon after it. Like what, 6 months after it came out. You know, we've been having these Christmas releases, you know, keeping them out of the summer, keeping them out of those big busy times, and those, you know, the Star Wars then has a little bit of time to breathe in the cinema. So bringing it out in May after a Star Wars film in Christmas, and then after the biggest Marvel movie ever, just feels like a big mistake. They should have held on to it till Christmas. It's either a mistake or it's Disney going, we don't have confidence in this product, let's put it out to die. So I don't know. I liked it, Joel. I just think we both come at Star Wars from a very different direction.
Yeah, we definitely do.
So we'll agree with you
on that.
Yes,
right.
I'll give Richard his hand gesture, but he's not actually at the camera.
Yeah, he's not there. He can come
He's not
back.
there. There you go.
Moral of the story, though. The moral
Richard.
of the story is that, here you go, he's back.
He's back. He's seen the hand gesture.
But we both agree Richard needs to go and see it, basically. We think it's worth going to see Richard, so...
I think if you're remotely interested in Star Wars, yes, of course.
I'm going to see it. Of course I am.
Gonna go
Star Wars.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm going to see it this week.
Good. Well, you can briefly fill us in when we do our post E3 podcast after all the events in a week or two's time. I think that takes us out of film and streaming section. Quickly want to touch upon one other thing. Well, actually, Richard, what is the People's Vote March? And there's a date. I don't understand.
Yeah, 23rd of June this year is 2 years since the EU referendum. And there is a march on Parliament this year on the 23rd of June, which I will be attending. So anyone that fancies opposing Brexit, which is rapidly unraveling, this might help tip it over the edge. So come and join thousands and thousands of people and do that. I'm catching a coach from Plymouth. There's different coaches being laid on from across the UK to take you there for like 20 odd quid. So wouldn't even cost you that much if you fancied a nice day out.
A nice day out.
Nice day out.
Get the bus for 20 quid and then just go sightseeing for the day. I'm gonna go visit London.
I love it. No, good shout, man. I just wanted to ask Joel, did you catch up on Monaco?
Yes, I watched it. God,
that was boring, wasn't it?
Woo.
That's all I wanted to say, but like, I'm super happy to see Ricciardo get pole and win from it. First time in his career. Very, very, very happy about that. Equally upset about Max, who needs to chill the fuck out and actually... Because if he was a bit more consistent, he'd be winning these races, especially in a place like that. They could have both been on the front grid, you know, front row of the grid there. They really, really could have done. And it's such a shame. And it could have been him in pole. It really could have been. But he binned it into the wall. Not really his fault. You know, what happened there. He couldn't, you know, who saw that car? It's amazing he avoided that car, to be honest. Like, it just shows you how good they are, the drivers. But then he went into the wall. But yeah, the race itself, man, a lot of really slow, just... really slow. You know, these are meant to be like this was meant to be the fastest Monaco ever, and it was like nobody really had tried that.
Yeah, everyone wanted to go
really
one stop, didn't they? And then
it was
just
boring.
Drove 6 seconds behind the pace to save the tires. Yeah, it was dull, and like I say, I agree with Hamilton and Vettel and Alonso that it's just a boring, you know, respect. Now the funny thing is, when you watch the onboards or you play it in a video game, I understand. I understand why the drivers love it so much, because it is freaking insane. Trying to pull that off, and you're threading the eye of the needle. Any little mistake and that's it, it's over. So I respect it from that point of view, but just the spectacle of watching it isn't there really. So they need to. I hope they do something about that. I'm
struggling to think of the last good race I saw at Monaco. It's been years.
Normally it needs to rain, and that
makes
it a bit exciting, and lots of crashes.
Yeah, well, yeah, but then nowadays if there's a crash, it means immediately whatever happens, double yellow. Then you have VSC, then you have fucking safety car, and it just means the race gets even slower and more boring. For like, and it's just one after another of those, and it's like, anyway. Let's not talk about F1 for ages. The new game is out actually in August, so we'll be talking about that more post E3 definitely. you know, and the halo is being fully modeled in the game as well. So that's going to be fun if you're driving from the camera pod view, which is how I usually do it. So I can't wait to see more of that. But we will move on, because Richard will fall asleep and he's already had to be away from the headphones for quite a while. So I think we get right now, guys, let's get into our E3 predictions. Anybody want to do a little sting? Doobity-doo! E3 predictions! That was good. That was good.
Yeah, the base bit for it.
I like that.
You didn't give me enough warning. I can't freestyle like that.
What was the name of the guy who did like the mouth beatboxing noises in like Police Academy?
Oh,
remember him? That's what I got from Richard.
No, it's not Hightower, is it?
Yeah, I can't remember his name. I used to love those films as a kid. But anyway.
He can do that in real life. If you watch YouTube videos of the actor, it's actually him doing it. It's just like incredible. Yeah.
So who wants to start? Should I start? Right, what we're going to do is do like
I want to go first.
You want to go first? We're going to do round robin
first because
he's been here weeks and now he thinks he's running.
The only reason I want to go first is because one of mine's already been spoiled, and this is what I put at my number one. This is an absolute dead cert. This is going to happen, and that was there'll be Ubisoft will announce a new Assassin's Creed game because they took a year's
doesn't count. Doesn't count. You're cheating. Doesn't count.
Before Origins.
What's your next guess? There might be some video games.
Yeah. I thought my reasoning was that because of the success and the positive reception of Origins, they'll feel that the appetite's back there for an annual release cycle again, so they'll start ramping up and doing it. And sure enough, they've announced it. So that's why I wanted to go first.
So that's in one of my news stories. So Assassin's Creed Odyssey has leaked.
Yeah.
And it's like, did it leak, guys, or did you let it leak? It feels like they let it leak to get some of the news cycle pre E3. They had a fucking teaser trailer ready. You know, it makes me think that, and you know, that's prepared, but it looks cool. It's not. Everybody was predicting a game with more Bayek in it, you know, a la the Assassin's Creed 2 sequels, Brotherhood and Legacy, with more Ezio. But no, it seems to be the rumor is that we're going to be able to pick a gender, so male or female, and that there's weirdly going to be maybe dialogue options, like Witcher 3 style. That are going to be introduced. Now, this is rumors at the moment, but considering, you know, the validity of where these sources have been coming from, you know, it would make sense that these are also correct and true. I like the idea of a Greek set Assassin's Creed. I think that could be really, really cool. You know, maybe we get something like the mythology around the Greek pantheon coming in there. There's lots of, I think, interesting things to go with, especially if you get back to the original kind of the progenitor race stuff that came out from Assassin's Creed. They're all very Greek inspired. If you think back to those, the futuristic-y progenitors who had that kind of Greek pantheon feel to them. I believe they were they named after the Greek pantheon, like Juno? Is that Greek or Roman pantheon? I always get those confused.
Juno. Oh no! Oh, you might be right. Juno might be.
Because the Romans stole the Greek pantheon, but they changed some of the names.
Let's have a quick Google.
I'm not sure it matters that much, but I'm down with that. I like the trailer they put out, which was reminiscent of 300. This is Sparta kicking him off the cliff, which made me laugh. Juno's Roman, but it all kind of connects up, you know. So we're getting into that time period. You know, there are Romans in Assassin's Creed Origins. So obviously, a Greek set one is going back earlier, isn't it? So it's going back further, which I think is again interesting. It'll be the furthest they've ever gone back in a historical setting, I think, in Assassin's Creed. But yeah, I'm up for that. I really liked Origins. You guys still haven't played it, have you?
No.
I've played a fair bit of Origins.
Oh, you have? Good.
Yeah, not enough. It stands out in all of the Assassin's Creed games that I own, because I own pretty much all of them somehow.
Same, yeah.
As one that I really feel like I want to go back to. The rest, I'm kind of not so fussed. But yeah, something about the setting in that one makes you want to explore that world.
It's beautiful, isn't it? It's absolutely beautiful. The location of Egypt and stuff in that game. So Joel, you copped out there. You can't have that. I've got more than 5 though, so I'll cover your butt in your laziness.
I didn't cop out. Ubisoft. Obviously, right? You leaked my. Ubisoft maybe saw my document or something and decided to roll the dice early and ruin my podcast.
Do you want to go, Rich?
Yeah, I think you can start with sensible ones. Mine get a bit more silly as they go on.
Some of mine are mental, but
but the first one, my sort of rock solid prediction. I think this is almost certainly going to happen. The new Elite controller is going to be confirmed. So we've seen some teasers of this sort of unverified pictures from a factory somewhere of a revamped Elite controller that's got USB-C charging now, remodeled rubber grips that don't fall
Please,
off.
please.
Mine are fine, actually. I've got
Mine
2
fell
Elites,
off.
and that hasn't happened on either one of them, touch wood.
Yeah, so what happened, mine started to come off, so I sold my controller to some idiot who didn't spot them coming off. So, yep.
Skills.
Yep. That would be nice. I'd be down for a Model 2 Elite controller, and I'd definitely pre-order one as soon as it was available. No doubt about it.
To buy one.
I mean, I'm obsessed with Richard. Talking about controllers, I forgot to ask you earlier. Did you get the okay from the wife to get the Duke?
I kind of did, and then I bottled it. I thought, I can't afford to spend money on that just yet. If they're still around when I've got some cash, then yeah, maybe.
Did you watch last time's podcast, Joel? Because I got the Duke controller, and it's really
good. So that's the classic Xbox controller, isn't it? But redone, and it's the massive classic Xbox One that was done for the Western audience, not the more popular Japanese controller that everyone actually wanted.
I'm never far from my Duke controller. It's always within reach. I've watched it make its lovely no.
It's got a screen in it, hasn't it?
It has a fucking screen in it. It's amazing.
Color LCD display on it.
It's amazing. It's amazing. It's amazing.
It's just it's over TT, but it's cool at the same time, isn't it?
It is really, really good. I'm very glad to have it, even though I haven't used it. I haven't played any of my backwards compatible Xbox games though. That original Xbox games. I'm gonna get into Mercenaries soon. I think that's the plan if I ever find the time. All right. Do you want a safe one first?
Go on.
Yeah, start safe and let's get crazier.
Okay. Well, I've got a few safe ones, but I'll start with I think Burnout is back at EA.
Oh.
What do you guys think about that?
Now
I don't think it's safe in the fact that
I don't think aren't building it, are they?
No, I don't think it's safe as in I've heard anything, but I think it's safe as they've released the remaster. I think it's time for them to bring back that franchise, and I think that that arcadey rating, the last few Need for Speeds have bombed hard, not got what they wanted out of them. I think they come back with some Burnout.
Maybe I think that might make sense of Burnout Paradise. Remaster this year that came out only a couple months ago, so yeah, that's possible.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, so it's probably quite realistic, actually. Yeah, they're probably seeding an appetite with a remaster, and then it's been quite a while, hasn't it, since they've done one?
It has.
So, yeah, and they were good games. So yeah, I could believe that.
Joel, you're up.
Okay, so my next one is I'm gonna place my bets that Nintendo are going to release Metroid Prime 4 in March next year. So March 2019.
That's bold.
I'm going for.
I'm not sure. I feel like that's at least another year.
No, I think they're going to concentrate on Smash Brothers this year. I think that will be their big IP, and yeah, next year I think they're going to get Metroid Prime out early.
I think that's the power of hopeful thinking rather than realism there.
I feel like Metroid is more of a winter game.
Yes, but they're going. Well, we know the problem with that is we know that next winter is Pokemon on Switch, don't we? A proper Switch Pokemon. So I'm not sure they'd go with Metroid at the same time. So I feel like
they're not treading on the same buyers, are they? They're different markets.
I think every Switch. I think if you're a Switch buyer, you buy every Nintendo game.
I guess so. Yeah.
Let's be honest. If you own the Switch, you'll get every first-party game that comes out. Yeah. Like it doesn't matter what genre. I mean, that's just how Nintendo. If you're a Nintendo guy, that's what you do. I hope you're right. I'd be up for it, Joel. I think it's going to have to cook a little bit longer.
It's ballsy. I know.
It is. I thought you were going safe. I thought you were going to go safe, but you went a bit out there. That's mid-tier. That's not like crazy, but it's like in the middle.
Maybe. I probably should have swapped it with my next one, but all right. Go on.
Go on, Rich.
Halo. There's going to be a new Halo. It won't be Halo 6. They're going to reboot the franchise, and we'll see the Halo Master Chief Collection Xbox One X update during E3.
Well, okay. I will counter your there's going to be a Halo with there's going to be no Halo except the Master Chief update, and instead there's going to be a Gears of War bonanza. The rumor is 3 games in the Gears of War franchise are going to get announced at E3.
Three games.
3 games. We're going to get Battle Royale, we're going to get RTS, and we're going to get the next iteration of the main franchise. Well, that's not my rumor. That's a rumor that's going around.
Well,
so that's why it's quite high up my list, because there's some validity to it, supposedly.
I was going to say, who wants Gears of War RTS? And then I thought, oh,
Halo
I want
Wars.
that.
Yeah, and Halo Wars. So, you know, why not do a Gears RTS?
Like XCOM or something.
Well, okay. That could be interesting, yeah. But that's the rumor, that there's going to be three big Gears titles. And if they do that, there'll be no Halo. Would be my thinking. What do you think of all of that, Joel? That kind of
right at the very bottom of my list in position 6, because I actually just didn't, I thought it was so obvious it wasn't worth mentioning. I put Halo 6 plus Gears 5. I think they'll announce both. Microsoft need to go heavy on exclusives.
They do.
So I think they'll push heavily on it to counter Sony, basically, who are doing so good on that front at the moment.
Yeah, I kind of feel that Gears is more of a shoe-in than Halo, because the last Halo was quite troubled. So yeah, I think if they're going to announce it, it's just going to be a quick teaser to say, right, guys, we actually know what we're doing. And it won't just be a straight sequel. There'll be something special about it.
Because I've got a lot on my list. Do you mind if I add one in now that's kind of the Xbox sort of Xbox push? Yeah. I think Cyberpunk 2077 has a huge presence on the Xbox stage.
Okay.
So I think we're going to get a massive push from, I don't think it's exclusive, but I think they're going to have a marketing tie-in. They're going to have a big presence from CD Projekt Red. Yeah. And it's going to be the big reveal of Cyberpunk, and it's going to be in the Xbox stage, because I like tying in what Joel says, they need to be like, we're about the games. This is the new games. We are getting behind these developers. We are pushing these IP, and and I feel like that's where we see Cyberpunk.
Okay. Yeah, I'll go with that.
Yeah,
that
safe.
Plausible.
That's a fairly safe bet, I think, in a way. If it gets shown at this show, I think it will be at Xbox.
Yeah.
Joel?
No, my next one.
Yeah.
So, and this is also pretty obvious, but I think Call of Duty Black Ops 4 is going to fall flat on its face at E3. I think they haven't got a single player. We know that already. We know they've got a battle royale zombie mode and the standard multiplayer. I think the shine's rubbing off on battle royale now. I think Fortnite and PUBG have done it, and everyone's enjoyed it and had fun, but kind of waned of it a bit.
We've got 2 more years of battle royale.
So I think all these games are going to launch with the battle royale modes, but the appetite from the consumer is going to kind of gone. And I think COD without a single player mode is going to be really disappointing as well. So I think this could be possibly the worst one they do. I think that'll get slated heavily.
I think Call of Duty might
campaign is instantly off my buy list.
I think you're in the minority. I'm with you, but I honestly, the majority I think are interested in multiplayer more than campaigns. But I think you might be right. It falls on its face, but I don't think it's going to be because of the battle royale mode. I think it's going to be because they don't show the battle royale mode. The rumor is the battle royale mode is won't even be at launch. That it's going to come in post release. So
DLC. They forgot their first DLC. The season pass is ready.
I don't think it's going to be a paid DLC, to be fair. But I think it's a title update that comes down the line. And I think all they show is the multiplayer and the zombies, and everybody's just like, nobody cares. That's on Sony stage though, yeah. Well, they don't have a stage. This is the weird thing, right? So we'll talk about that quickly now. Then Sony they're not doing a stage thing. They're just doing a stream, and they've already said what games they're going to be showing on the stream. So I don't really know if they're going to do any announcements, and it's kind of ties into one of my predictions, but I don't know if it's going to work. I mean, I've got a couple of Sony focused predictions. One's more plausible than the other. I'm gonna skip Richard here as I'm segueing into myself. My prediction is Souls, the new Dark Souls, or the new From Software Souls-esque game. Is that a Sony?
You're not really skipping me then, because that was my next one.
Oh, okay. Look at that, man! Look at that. Right there. Synced, baby. And I think that's at PlayStation. And then my other PlayStation thing was Beyond Good and Evil 2, but they announced it's for the next PlayStation hardware.
No,
that's not going to happen.
No, PS5 will not happen. Guarantee it.
That's one of my wilder ones. But there are rumors that they are talking about the fact that the big Sony higher ups are talking about the fact that we are now in the end of this gen, that there is wording pushing them towards announcing the next generation. And I think if any game is associated with that, it's Beyond Good and Evil 2.
There was some mistranslation around that. Some people took that as Sony admitting the PS4 is dead. What they actually said was it's entering the final phase of its life cycle, which is quite different.
Yes,
that could mean 2-3 years.
But two years out, do we not start talking about PS5 2 years out? I mean, these are people that are way on top. They've won this generation when it comes to sales. They must be looking at that showing a downward trend now. The sales are dipping off, and they must be thinking about the next generation. It's in development, right? There's no doubt. The PS5 is in some form of development, probably the next Xbox as well. So
they'll always be in development 5 years beforehand, you know. As soon as the old one comes out, they start developing the next one.
But they must be looking as well. They're thinking Xbox is going to go hard on games, right? They always have the first conference. We're way later we're 2 days later than them, right? So we come out with a fucking hardware announcement and blow them out of the water. You know, it's perception. It's all about fucking perception.
They're so far ahead, they don't need to.
There's not the technology step. That's the problem.
It doesn't matter about technology, does it?
It does, because what's the point? Yeah, they can't get anything better than the Xbox One X at the moment. They need to wait for AMD to spin up their next graphics technology. Really.
So all you do, Beyond Good and Evil trailer, Beyond Good and Evil 2 trailer, looks amazing, looks stunning, and then you just say at the end, PS5. That's it.
Nah, they won't.
Okay, it's an outside one. I'm not gonna lie.
I don't think there's anything in it for them to do it, because they're so
crazy rumors and crazy predictions. But no, it's fair enough. Yep. Richard, I skipped you. Do you wanna give us a different one?
Yeah, just going back to From Software, I'm going to predict Bloodborne 2 rather than a Dark Souls. I think they've ruled out Dark Souls, haven't they? But
that's like you entirely.
Bloodborne 2 is possible, almost likely, I think. Do you want my next one? My next one's daft.
I sort of stole your Souls-esque thing, yeah.
Remedy's Project 7 is confirmed to appear. I think it's Alan Wake 2.
Oh, I'd be so happy, Richard.
Multi-format, but I reckon it's Alan Wake 2.
Happy. I'd be so fucking happy. Where's it showing then if it's multi-format?
I don't know.
Oh, come on, predict. What stage has got it? Come on, predict. Ubisoft is publishing it. Why not? Why not? I mean, Bethesda. I believe Bethesda could pick up a Remedy. Don't know that. That's kind of.
I don't know. They've announced they're going to show stuff, but I don't know if they've said where they're showing it. So I don't know. They've had an association with Microsoft for the past couple of releases, haven't they?
They could just show it on the show floor.
No, big announcement. New game from Remedy. That's on the stage.
It's going to be on a
stage.
I think if anything, it's going to be Xbox, isn't it?
I would hope so, but they're not exactly on the best of terms anymore after the failure of Quantum Break. So I don't know. Okay. As I kind of jumped ahead, Joel, do you want to do the next one?
So this is getting a bit crazy. I'm getting slightly crazier here. So I think EA will announce / show a single player Star Wars game. And I think the reason they might do this, so this is obviously a bit ballsy, but I think the reason they might do it is I think there's actually a threat to them losing their license exclusivity for Star Wars, and to try and win back the fan base before that license renewal comes up, they'll try and give them something that they know they want. So I think there could be something there.
Yeah, I mean,
I thought of that, but they've shit-canned all the studios.
I know. It doesn't make sense, because like every year they show one and then shit-can it. Yeah, I thought that, but this might be the year that, because I think Disney are going to be burning at their heels a bit, and we already know that apparently Disney have been engaging with other publishers like Ubisoft and stuff about the license exclusivity. So, yeah, I wonder if that might light a fire under their arse and they'll try and do something.
Yeah, I did hope the same, and then I remembered Visceral's demise. Sad times.
Definitely sad times. Yeah, I like that idea. That'd be cool. Do you want a crazy software or crazy hardware?
Have you not done your crazy hardware? Oh, you got to do it. Okay, go on, do your crazy hardware, Ben.
Is this the year? Is this the year? No, is this the year we get VR/AR from Microsoft?
No, I don't reckon. Although, yeah, well, I don't know. There's talk around VR more generally that it's not living up to expectations. There's still growth.
It's one of my news stories, actually. Yeah,
there's still growth, but not as good, not as good as predicted. So it would be a strange time for Microsoft to wade into it. But then, given their history, they don't always judge the market that well, do they? When
I think
new technology. So.
If I was going to add some argument to that, I'd say what I reckon they might do is I reckon they could announce that there'll be support for either the Oculus Rift or the HTC Vive for the Xbox. I don't think they'll do their own hardware. I think they might just take some of the existing PC headsets, which should in theory be able to work quite well. But
I just keep thinking of the HoloLens. I just keep thinking of HoloLens, and it's like it's still out there. It's still being developed. It's still being worked on. You know that. I feel like at some point maybe they pull the trigger on that. Even I don't have a lot of confidence in that prediction, I have to admit. I mean, it would be a perception thing again. It would, if they could come out and be like, "This is this much better than the PSVR," you know, all of that. That would really help them against PlayStation and stuff. I don't know. I've got one left.
I don't think that's going to happen as a consumer product. I think that's more proof of concept. We won't see anything similar to that for 5-10 years.
Do you have any others left, Rich? Do you have any other predictions?
One more. I'm not sure how contentious this is, but we're going to see a new Zelda announcement.
A new Switch Zelda?
Yep. And I reckon it's going to be multiplayer focused, so something like Four Swords.
Okay. I mean,
I think that shakes it up from Breath of the Wild. It puts a different kind of Zelda out there, and something that would definitely sell on Switch.
So if it's something that's 2 years out, I mean, I can see that. I suppose 2020 kind of area.
But it doesn't have to be a big sort of tentpole release, other than being Zelda, of course. But I mean, it's not going to be Breath of the Wild, massive open world sprawling experience that lasts 6 months of play. But something more throwaway and jump in multiplayer like Four Swords was. I think that's possible.
Have you got any left, Joel?
Yeah, I've got one. It's my craziest one of them all. So sit back and prepare yourselves, right? So we're talking, it's about halfway through the Xbox presentation. You know, things are going a bit all right, and suddenly Phil Spencer's on stage talking, and then he sort of announces he wants to bring his friend out on stage, and out comes Miyamoto holding a battle rifle, and they announce that they're going to do Mario plus Master Chief Minecraft Adventures for the Switch. Like, I'm going for it. I'm going right out there, man.
I thought my last one was out there.
So you're going to have Phil Spencer and Shigeru Miyamoto on stage waving battle rifles around.
I just like
music and Mario and stuff.
I just like the idea of Miyamoto just whoring himself out to a different publisher every year.
It'll be Sony next year.
I like that. Yeah, that's cool, man. I like that. It's funny. I think likelihood at about 1% there. I think mine is a bit higher up on the likelihood. It is crazy, right? So again, it has to be at Xbox because they're the only one with the sort of presentation ability to bring out a third party this year. And I think, right, so the guys from Mortal Kombat come out and they're like, we're not doing a fighting game. We've got a new open world Mortal Kombat game based off the Shadow of War technology. Because it's all Warner Brothers. It's all under the same umbrella.
Hey, that's a good idea.
Yeah, and they're using, I don't know, the main character could be someone like, so you have that kind of nemesis system, but in the Mortal Kombat universe. I stole that idea from a friend. We were talking about Shadow of War the other day, and I was like, mate, it would be a great use of that engine. It's amazing that the engine hasn't been used anywhere else. And we brought up Mortal Kombat, and he's like, mate, that's a fucking amazing idea. If they're not doing that, they should. So yeah, a fresh open world IP set in the Mortal Kombat universe using the Shadow of War tech. So yeah, how about that? I think that's a bit more likely than Mario and Master Chief in Minecraft.
No, never.
But yeah,
I'll be proven right.
Except the problem there is they make the main character be Liu Kang, and then nobody cares. It's the Shadow of War problem with Talion, isn't it? He's the most boring arsehole on the planet. Like, why would you care about anything he does? Yeah, so we will see how well we do There is, right. So let's talk about E3 a little bit in general. Obviously, we're already at about an hour and a half on this show. We're going to be long today, I think, guys, just to warn you. So E3 is coming up. It's a little it's less than a week away because it starts on the Saturday with different press conferences. We're going to be doing a daily podcast Saturday night, Sunday night, Monday night, and Tuesday night, looking back at the previous 24 hours of conferences. So EA, Microsoft, Ubisoft, Squeenix, the PC Gaming Show, Bethesda, Sony, Nintendo, you name it. Maybe not Devolver, but if I can find the energy, I'll watch that weird satirical take on the conference format. But yeah, there's going to be lots of discussion on these podcasts. It's going to be a little bit different this year. We're not going to have lots of wrap-up posts and tweets, but I'll be watching live, and me and Joel at least will be talking about them all. Richard will join us if he can, but he'll be back in 2 weeks' time to do a podcast where we look back at the entire week of E3 and the kind of announcements that come out from the show floor as well. So it's always an exciting time, guys. It's always Christmas for gamers, E3. Feel the hype. It is real. Our predictions there ranged from sane to completely impossible. And we'll see how well we do, won't we, in a couple of weeks' time. Maybe we'll do like a score, a tally, and see who got the highest score. We'll do like half points for close. But, the jury will have to decide. So let's touch upon some news. Okay, did you guys watch the Sinking City trailer?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm digging all this Cthulhu-inspired video game action we're getting at the minute. This Lovecraftian mythos sort of vibe stuff we're getting. It's looks really weird, doesn't it? Like, looks proper mental.
Yeah, I like that sort of thing. When they announced backwards compatibility for the original Xbox stuff, the first game that came to mind was Call of Cthulhu. I do love that Lovecraftian sort of dark world atmosphere. I'm not sure how this is going to pan out as a game. It's come from the guys who did the Sherlock Holmes games, isn't it? So I haven't played them properly, but I know they've been on Games for Gold, I think. So I might give them a look and see if that gives any pointers to how this is going to turn out. But yeah, I'm interested just from a thematic point of view.
Absolutely. What about you, Joel? Did that tickle your fancy?
Oh, it looked quite good. I haven't done any backwards research into it. I only really watched it just earlier this morning. So, but yeah, kind of looks interesting.
It's always nice to see these sort of new IPs and stuff and keep an eye on them. Yeah, half the time they turn out to be a pile of shit. But if a developer's trying something new, if they're pushing things in different directions, that always gets my interest. Let's talk about some things though that maybe they're big announcements, but maybe aren't pushing things in new directions. What did you guys think of the Battlefield 5 reveal? Or V? Battlefield V. I'm sorry, it's not 5, is it? It's Battlefield V.
Is that how they're branded it?
I believe so. Yes. It's V for victory. It's V for victory, you see. Because you've gone away from numbering, because we went 4 and then we went 1. So we can't really go to 5. That doesn't make sense. So we'll go to V because it's V for victory because it's set ostensibly in World War II. So,
okay.
What do you think of the trailer?
Well, I don't want to get too excited about it because it's not a real trailer, is it? It's all pre-rendered or at least pre-scripted stuff. And it was exciting for what it is. And I suppose I enjoyed that it wound up people who find women threatening because there's some women in the trailer.
What?
Heaven forbid.
Women can't fight. They just make children.
A world event, the World War II, some women were in that somehow, despite only making up 50% of the world population. So yeah, that was interesting take on the trailer. But yeah, I guess it's Battlefield, isn't it? I want to see the actual game.
I've got a potential theory about it as well. But I mean, a couple of other details that came out were there's going to be like a building tool, so you could, a bit like Fortnite-esque, you can make makeshifts to walls or sandbags in buildings. You can do a bit more. They're going to go more into the structural environment thing, and fortifications will be constructible. And they're also ditching the premium pass. No more premium pass and paid for post game release DLC, which means no more split player bases, which I think really the Battlefield 1 really suffered from, because they've got some amazingly good DLC there. And while that premium pass was often on sale, and I think that's how I picked it up, it does that does mean your player base shrinks every time subsequently that DLC comes out. So they're out the door on that as well, which is good to see. EA seems to really be taking on board the pushback against things like season passes and obviously loot box microtransaction shit. And you know, they are pivoting away from that stuff, it would seem. Good for them. And only make the consumer happy. What do you think of all this, Joel?
I watched the trailer. At first, I was just like, oh, God, it's loads of pre-rendered guff. And then it kind of just switched into actual gameplay, didn't it?
Well, kind of like target gameplay, maybe? Like target render gameplay?
It's certainly a vertical slice trying to sort of highlight the games, or you know, so yeah, it was obvious that, you know, they do that TikTok thing every year with Battlefront and Battlefield, so we knew one was going to come. I'm quite curious because apparently a lot of people have said they think this might be more akin to the Bad Company series, which I really enjoyed. So yeah, well, you know, and Battlefield 1 was really good. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, very good.
So let's wait and see.
So do you want to hear my crazy theory? And it's kind of in that vein of what you just mentioned, Bad Company. This isn't going to be
Mario's in it.
Mario, yeah, and Master Chief as well. No, this isn't going to be an attempt at historical accuracy like in Battlefield 1. This is going to be a World War II inspired setting. So we're going to have that kind of era of tech, but we aren't going to be trying to recreate the conflict at all from World War II. It's going to be like, maybe we extrapolate out the use of things like dirigibles and a bit of a steampunk vibe in areas. Maybe they go for sort of the big sort of Leviathan battleships or big like flying V, imagine like fortresses in the air, things like that. So stuff that was maybe thought about during the war, you know,
like Wolfenstein then.
Yeah, kind of. I feel like it might sort of skew away from trying to just be another World War II shooter. That trailer made me think of that because it felt to be honest, let's be honest, the inclusion of women in the way they were used in that trailer doesn't lend itself to historical accuracy because, well, why should it? It's a video game. So you just move away from that entirely. Do you know what I mean? So let's just go for a fun sort of shooter inspired by that era. That's my vibe. I got
it's not inaccurate though, is it? Women were involved in battles, and also there's I think there's a fellow with a sword in there that people have picked up on. Some people did use swords in World War II.
Sure, I mean, when it's war, you probably use whatever's the fucking hand, you know, and stuff like that. Really,
it might not be representative of the, you know, the
organized conflict. Yeah. I mean, in regional, you know, conflicts and stuff like that, yes, things like that would have happened. But in the Hollywoodized, video gameized perception of World War II, it's a less common interpretation. But I think they should lean into it and just really just go for it.
How many games have we seen based on World War II? We should have something that focuses on the stuff that you don't see very much. Things like that did happen. We don't really hear about it. Explore that.
It makes me think of the segment in Battlefield 1 when you did like the armored Iron Man tank bit. It's like it didn't really happen. It was sort of inspired by quasi-similar events of that era and location. But there wasn't really an Iron Man-esque walking tank in World War One. You know, that didn't really happen. But like it felt valid enough. And I think you kind of just keep going with that. You know, you keep going with that idea of inspired by rather than, and, you know, think of the game first. The game should be fun first, shouldn't it?
Yeah.
You know, so that was the problem I had with Kingdom Come Deliverance. It was so obsessed with fucking realism that it was a boring pile of shit. But, you know, there you go. Okay. The other big announcement we had in the last couple of weeks, which was Fallout 76, guys. So there's rumors and counter rumors bumbling about this. Obviously, we're going to find out more very soon at the Bethesda conference. But the rumor is that there's Fallout 76. Fallout 76 is a Fallout vault from within the universe. We mentioned in Fallout 3 and 4. And it was the vault that opened very early on. It opened only about 20 to 25 years after the bombs dropped. So a very different environment, much more survival, much less society being rebuilt, much more in the way of just scavenging and trying to survive. You know, that's what the idea lends itself to. So because of that, people are talking about this Fallout being maybe a bit like Rust or something to that effect, a survival-focused RPG in which you're going to be managing things like water and food and stuff like that. Kind of the hardcore mode that existed in previous Fallout games, you know, and modded in after the fact. But there's counter rumors that that's not true, that it's going to be much more like a traditional Fallout. So we're not really sure right now. But are you guys ready? Are you ready and excited for a new Fallout? I would have been more into the idea of a proper Elder Scrolls at this point. But what do you guys think?
I'm up for it, but I completely let Fallout 4 pass me by. I got properly into 3. I absolutely rinsed Fallout 3. I did everything in it, I think. All the DLC, all the trophies, did the lot. But Fallout 4, I kind of got the feeling it's pretty much the same as what I've already done. And by some accounts, it still isn't really polished enough for me. And that was the killer for Fallout.
I really liked 4. I put about 40, 50 something hours in, maybe more. I don't think I completely finished it, but I enjoyed it a lot.
I think I probably would have liked it too, but I don't know. I was just burnt out from too much Fallout 3. I feel now is probably a good time for me to get back into that franchise.
Good news, Richard. And this is one of my. This will be so obvious that it probably wasn't worth saying, but I expect at E3 that they'll announce Fallout 4 VR for PlayStation. So they were launched last year on PC. I think they'll do it for the PlayStation. And I'm the same as you. I played Fallout 3 a lot, but I've never got on board with Fallout 4. But I'm kind of at that. I've got the appetite to play one now. So if they do it in VR,
surely.
I don't know. I'd be up for giving it a try. I don't own it otherwise. I passed on Skyrim in VR because I played that on the PC. I don't really want to own it again.
So weird that you guys skipped Fallout 4.
Well, I haven't. They're launching the VR edition for me now. Is the way I see it.
It's not out yet, is it, Joel?
It's not, but I think give it 2 weeks. They'll just be on Bethesda's. Oh yeah, we're just doing Fallout 4 in VR.
Yeah, as far as we're concerned, Fallout 4 is then officially out.
Yeah.
So I mean, what do you guys think about 76 maybe being survival focused and a bit more along those lines?
Seems to be where the rumors are at the moment. It's the rumor literally is it's not a traditional Fallout game. And then there's loads of other stuff that people are spouting from there. So yeah, I think I'd go with the idea that maybe it isn't. I mean, it will turn out to be just another mobile game like Fallout Shelter or something like that. But yeah, let's wait and see. I don't think it will be a Fallout game. Like you say, I think the Elder Scrolls will be the next one that they do in that ilk. So I think this will just be a spin-off in a different genre.
Yeah, the rumor is that it's not being developed by the main team. That it's one of the ancillary studios that Bethesda snapped up a few years ago. I think it's Austin. Possibly Bethesda or something. I'd forget.
Yes, it is Austin, I think.
There's a lot of developers in Austin, so I might be wrong. There's a fucking.
Is that who did the what was the Vegas game?
No, Vegas was done by Obsidian. And Obsidian don't do other people's licenses anymore partially after the train wreck of KOTOR 2 and New Vegas that both released with more bugs than actual working game. So both really good games as well, Shane, but I feel like Obsidian always struggled to get stuff out on time. Like they make great stuff, but they don't polish it the same way as the in-house developers do. But no, that was Obsidian. So no, it was entirely different. Internal, but not the same, not Todd Howard's lot, I suppose, would be the way to describe that. But so we're going to know more. We're going to know a lot more in about a week's time. Okay, next news story up. Apple rejects Valve's game streaming Steam Link app for iOS. That's kind of it. Rolled off the tongue. So Valve announced this Steam Link thing, so you could play your PC games from your laptop, your home computer, on your mobile devices. I'm not exactly sure why you'd want to do that. But I guess I'm the person with just a phone and not like one of the giant iPads you can buy and stuff like that, which maybe would make more sense if you wanted to play, say, Into the Breach on an iPad instead of waiting for the inevitable port. But yeah, business conflicts is what Apple have said. Strange that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they've said, they're competition, so we don't want to let them do that. It's just that's fucking Apple, isn't it, guys? Just closed ecosystem. We don't like playing with others. Some things never change. I don't know if you guys would you guys have been interested in this? Is this something you'd ever do on a mobile device? Try and play your Steam games, or not at all? Not at all bothered. All right, I thought maybe one of you would have cared, but as you don't,
there's no point. I've got Surface Pro, and I can have Steam on that. So
yeah, but you're only one of 5 people that own one of those, Rich. I'm not sure it's that relevant. I'm just saying. You and your fucking Windows ecosystem single-handedly keeping Microsoft in business. That's what they should say.
Doing my best.
Yeah, that's your footnote. Yeah. We've got Far Cry 5's new DLC is coming out this week, which I'm quite looking forward to. You guys play Far Cry 5 yet?
No.
not yet.
All right, okay. But yeah, they've got a really ambitious and quite robust DLC plan. They've just released Far Cry 3 Classic for the people with the season pass. So I was back on Rook Island the other day, enjoying my time with Vass, still the best villain in a Far Cry game yet. So creepy. But yeah, they're Hours of Darkness, which is like a Vietnam conflict inspired piece of DLC, comes out this week. I'm really looking forward to checking it out and seeing what it's like and like the length of it, and if it adds any new sort of game mechanics and things like that. Yeah, we've got that. We've got a zombie one, and we've got a Martian based one coming up. So I'm quite down with that. That's a cool kind of plan they have there. But you guys haven't played Far Cry, so why would you care? And we alluded to this before, that Sony has sort of announced that VR's sales are below expectations. How do you guys feel about your VR systems? I'm still on the fence. I'm still like every other week I'm thinking about buying one, and I almost always kind of nearly do, and then bottle it because I'm just like, well, what games am I going to play on it? And is that maybe how most people feel?
I just feel like it's too much of a faff to set up, and once it is set up, I worry that I'll be sick, particularly with something like Fallout. Flipping heck. It's one of those things that you just you want to play for 10, 15, 20 minutes, and then you kind of done with it. So I don't think I regret buying mine. I think if I hadn't got it, I would want one now just to experience some of the stuff that's on there. It's undoubtedly a worthwhile experience. It's just quite a lot of money to spend on something that sometimes makes you feel a bit weird, and there's not any games on there that you'd want to really play for a very long time. They're all quite short experiences. So yeah, I'm a bit ambivalent towards VR, and I couldn't really say that it's a mass market thing. It's probably dipping off in sales for good reason, but I still like having mine.
Joel?
Yeah, it's the problem with VR is it's just the entry cost is too much. So that's why it's not going to appeal, and also the people are experimenting and coming up with some quite interesting games, but there are also a lot of shit games as well, which don't help. So for every now and again, for every gem you get about 19 crap experiences in some senses, or games that are just poorly done or ill-conceived. But I think there's promise to the technology. I think we're probably just a decade ahead of where it's really going to be mass market.
I mean, but that's why keep developing something if you're not going to sell it now? They'll keep going for a decade.
Keep your toes in the water, maybe. I don't know. I definitely think it will have. I think the PC scene's a bit better at the moment because you have sort of room scale tracking and that sort of stuff. It's got a lot of, Kinect had the problem that no one had space in their living room to do it. So room scale tracking is not really it's going to suffer from the same issue. You need even more space, and there are a lot of hurdles it needs to overcome. But I think there's a lot of promise in the technology. So I'm not surprised to see that their sales. I think to be overall though, I think they probably should. Their expectations are probably higher than mine. I thought they'd sold over 1 million. I think in total.
2 million.
Yeah, 2 million. There you go, which I think is a staggering amount anyway. So I think that's quite positive.
I don't know PlayStation 4 install base right now, but I know it's in the closer to 100 than it is to close to 50 million. So I'd imagine 2 million as a percentage is very low compared to what they were expecting.
Actually, for a very expensive accessory, that's not that bad.
Well, it's more expensive than buying a PS4. So it's not as if you can expect a high attach rate from it. Even if people could afford it, not everyone will want that. It's going to be quite a fringe thing. But, well, if it's making money, fine. I'm sure that they've said that they're continuing to support it, and it's getting reasonable traction. It's just not as high as they expected. So that could just be their expectations. Maybe it's all right, really.
Maybe it's another reason we get a PS5 so we can get a better quality PSVR. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Just validity to my crazy rumors. No. Okay.
I would like a new headset because now we're all used to 4K consoles and 4K TVs. Putting that headset on, it really takes you back to proper pixelated gaming experiences. It's quite underwhelming. If it wasn't for how immersive the scale of VR experiences is, it would look terrible.
Right. Well, that does not sell me one. That's for sure. What you just said. I've never thought of it quite in those terms. It's like, oh, I might. I don't think I'm going to bother. Okay, let's. My God, E3 predictions. Us chatting for a while, and now news takes us to the 1 hour 45 mark. So let's talk about some of the fucking games we've been playing in the last couple of weeks. I want to talk to you, Richard, first of all, about a game you've been playing for quite some time. We got massive long lead time on this, and we can only now talk about it today for the first time, and that's the port to Xbox of, is it Aragami? Aragami. Okay, thank you. Aragami. You're reviewing this. I played a little bit with you as well, though, Rich. But
we played a bit of co-op, didn't we? But it's predominantly a single-player stealth 3D action game. I don't know why we couldn't talk about it before today. I am going to just have a slight whinge about this because it came out on PC and PS4.
Yep.
Over 2 years ago.
There is content in the Xbox version that is, I believe, exclusive and new to Xbox. And I think that might be where the embargo shit comes from. Okay. Well, I believe. That's my theory.
That kind of makes sense, I guess, but it's just extra levels, isn't it?
Yeah. So if you're just talking about game mechanics, I think maybe there is some change to some of the mechanics in there as well. But it's nuts, isn't it, that you're tied up like that? Because it's good to talk about these things because you're helping promote the shit for them. So yes, what do you think of Aragami?
I think it's okay. It's clearly like a B tier production. It's not as polished as I would like. I think I'm playing it on an Xbox One X, and it runs reasonably smoothly there. It's got a nice cel shaded look to it, and you play a kind of ghostly
demon
spirit.
Ninja,
demon ninja, ghostly spirit, in a sort of Ninja Gaiden vibe. So you're creeping around all these ancient sort of temples and that. And
pagodas.
Is that what they're called? Pagodas.
I believe they're called pagodas. Yes.
Yeah. So you're creeping around pagodas and. Creeping up.
You get on a register for that, Richard. You have to be careful.
So you creep up behind people, staying out of their field of vision, slitting their throats, or you could just run up to them and try and.
That's what we were doing.
Cut them up in front.
It wasn't going very well, though, was it?
It didn't go that well. Yeah. So it's predominantly a stealth experience. If you do take a full frontal assault approach, you're not going to last very long because they're
I quite like
kills.
I quite like the unique mechanics. I like the whole using shadows to like teleport around, and you can like generate shadows so you can teleport into it, and I thought that was quite. And the fact that in co-op you can kind of do that for each other as well. I thought there was some interesting use of those sort of combinations of mechanics and powers and stuff like that. It was quite cool.
Yeah. So getting into that, there are powers. It's not just using your sword. There's a mechanic in there that is visually quite a bit like Journey's scarf system. So the longer your sort of shroud is coloured in, the more shadow power you have. So you can teleport to other shadows if you're powered up enough, or you can even generate your own shadows to teleport into. And as you say, in co-op, you can teleport into someone else's shadow and sort of share your resources in that way. It's got some funny design issues. There was a couple of bits where you followed me across a bridge or a broken bridge, but you thought you've got to dive down into the hole rather than cross the bridge. And I made exactly the same mistake.
Yeah, level design is a bit...
So the level design puts you in a way that looks like you're supposed to go one way. Actually, that's certain death, and doesn't really signpost you very well. There are some glitches, the old camera glitches that I thought we'd done away with in the 90s and 2000s, where if you're sat on a ledge and you pan the camera up a bit, the camera gets stuck in the scenery. I haven't seen that quite as bad as this for quite some time, although it's not all the time. It's only an occasional problem. It's just kind of exactly what you'd imagine it to be for a B tier release like this. You'd creep around and slash people. You've got the option of playing levels multiple times to go back and get pickups for skill points. Skill points will allow you to hide bodies if you kill anybody, and There's different sort of perks that you can unlock, or you can repeat the mission to try and kill everybody, or maybe try and kill nobody, and you'll get different rewards for each. So there's some replay value in there. But my feeling was, if you want to play a game like this, where you can have that sort of experience, where you can play it in different ways, you might be better off playing something like Dishonored, one of the Dishonored series, where you can do all of this stuff, but it also looks a lot better, and you've got an actual story that draws you through as well. There isn't much of a narrative here to keep you going. It's all about the game itself, which doesn't offer too much unique. I didn't feel it's just okay.
I don't think there's a huge amount of games like this available, you know, on the current hardware and stuff. So it's kind of nice. It's sort of filling a bit of a niche on the modern consoles. I like the art style. I thought, yeah, you've obviously played more of it than I have, but I quite liked it. But, you know, I didn't love it. I'm not the biggest stealth gamer, I think, at heart. It's not really my game style. I like to be more aggressive. But, yeah, it was pretty cool. I mean, you mentioned, you know, some glitches. And I feel that might segue quite nicely into a game I've played, which is more glitch than game, actually. Would you guys like to know about Agony?
Is that the experience or the name of the game?
That's no, I actually say at the end of my review, Agony in name, Agony in nature. That's actually how I finished my review and then gave it 1 star. It is a fucking train wreck of a game. And I'm going to swear, because this game is all about being adult and edgy and gory and vile and horrible, with dismembered bodies and demons, you know, raping someone to death in front of you, and all of that, you know, hell, and you know, I even hit the mic then to emphasize how bad it is. But the weird thing about all of that is that you get so desensitized so quickly that you stop really even looking at it. So it sort of becomes a non-entity within moments. And the concept is you're like a soul, and you're like thrown into hell, and then you can sort of inhabit these poor saps that are stuck down there, and you know, you're trying to get out, basically. However, that's hampered by a myriad of things, including incredibly poor level design, like these labyrinthian levels just designed to be annoying and just as obscure as possible. There's impenetrable darkness everywhere, probably to hide the bad level designs and awful textures. I equated it to, in the review, to, you know, when you've gone on those roller coasters in the dark, you know, at Alton Towers, where it's all inside and it's all dark, and then maybe sometimes something goes wrong and they turn all the lights on, and you see how shit it is in there. And that's what this is like. So the only way to play this game is to bump the gamma settings up high, so you can actually see where the fuck you meant to go, and then you can see how ugly it all is, and how just shit the levels are, and how shit everything looks, and it's just shit. Yeah, literally though as well. There's feces everywhere in this game. But yeah, it's just it's one of those games like Outlast or Alien Isolation. So you have these like super boss enemies you can't really fight, who will then, you know, hunt you down and murder you, which is fine. That is a genre that can work. And there is hiding mechanics in this game, and there's this mechanic: when you die, your soul gets taken out of the body that's just been ripped apart in front of you, and then you can inhabit someone else. And it's a fine idea, but it's all just made very, very difficult to do and unfun by the level design, the fact you can't see what you're doing, and just that there's no real drive for you to even continue. I mentioned in the review, because I was playing it post-release, that you're able to, you know, with the achievement tracker on Xbox, you can see the percentage of people and how far they've got through, you know, globally in the game. And there's an achievement for completing level 1. 7% of the players had completed level 1. 7%. So that tells you kind of a lot, like, about, oh yeah, people put this game, I'll give it a go. Oh God, taking that back. I feel bad for the people that couldn't take it back. If you bought it digitally, you're stuck with that shit, and it really is a turgid mess. If you guys, I've got, you know, let me know if you would like me to post this to you, because I don't want it in my house. So just it's the worst game I've played this year. It's one of the worst games I've played this generation. Yeah. So yeah, that's Agony. It's a cool idea. It's a cool idea. I mean, I haven't even mentioned things like terrible voice acting. Just you can tell it's not actors, and it's people who work at the studio. And and glitches, right? There is just incredibly annoying. There's audio glitches throughout this game. It's really weird. There are just pops and weird distortion, like static sounds, like when you're just walking around. At first, I thought maybe that was intentional, but then I realized the more I listened to it, no, this is just broken. And then there's bugs. Whenever you speak to NPCs, literally, I'd say about 85% of the time you speak to an NPC, this is how a conversation goes. Hello, NPC. Hello, sir. How are you? Hello, sir. How are you today? Hello, sir. How are you today? And it just does that. And the only reason you can know what they're saying is you have to read the subtitles, because they can never finish, because it just it loops and breaks and loops and breaks. Brilliant. And it's just like, how did you not catch this before the release of the game? You must have at least played it once as a developer. I mean, one of you must have. And at some point you must have come across that bug and you thought, that's all right, we'll put that on disc. We'll send that out. Like, what the fuck, man? Like, have some more pride. I mean, originally the game is a Kickstarted project, but you know, it's been put out by a proper developer and stuff now, and it's a hard 18, that's for sure. If you just want to see really nasty stuff, you know, Google it, because it's not worth spending money on this to do it. Like, honestly, it's got warnings all over the box. It's hilarious. It's like, that is what they're trying to sell this on. Like, it's the shock factor. And it's just not worth enduring. It really isn't. So yeah, I don't normally like tear apart a game that much, but it's just you know, there was some potential there for like a dark sort of Sisyphean, like really like Dante's levels of hell and all that kind of mythos you could build on. And then, you know, and then the gore works with context and story and character. But there's none of that at all. None. Zero. Any questions?
No, I think let's move on from that.
Yes, I never want to talk about it again. Unless one of you guys would like me to send you the game. Right. Joel, out of interest, have you played any State of Decay 2?
No, I haven't.
Well, you should.
I actually cancelled my Game Pass sub, so no.
Oh, it's really good.
The horror.
It's really good. It's really, really good. Richard, we played it together, didn't we? I mean, we didn't review State of Decay 2 because we didn't get like proper code for it, but we both played it. I bought it, Ultimate Edition. You got it on Game Pass.
I'm still using Game Pass. It's good service. And,
it is.
Yeah, State of Decay 2 is a good game. It is a good
State of Decay, isn't it? So
yeah, which I didn't really play very much. I've played this more than I played the first, and that's still only like 2 or 3 hours. But I'm enjoying it. It's good to play it co-op with you. There's a few little bugs there, aren't there? So
yeah.
Nothing serious, but I think you got stuck on NPCs that were following me around and just stood in the doorway in front of you. I think there was a few lag issues.
It's a super ambitious game, right? From a small developer. And I mean, that doesn't excuse problems. Like Agony is a small developer, you know, and it's ambitious in many ways, and it's a complete fucking train wreck. But State of Decay, for the most part, works really well as a sort of zombie post-apocalyptic management game. I think it's really compelling and a lot of fun. They just brought out, I don't know if you noticed this, Richard, they just brought out a patch that weighed in at 20 gigabytes. So
that's quite a small patch.
I think that's fairly large, considering the download of the game is about 25 gigabytes. So, you know, they are working on it. I think it's going to get tidied up quite a lot from what I've been reading of the patch notes and stuff like that. I think, Joel, I'd be really cool if we could all get in multiplayer together. So, you know, consider it. I think if you're in the mood for like a zombie survival game, which kind of lends quite heavily on the realism and really goes for the kind of what would you actually have to do to survive and thrive in this situation. You know, it's all procedural. All the survivors you meet, all the different people you can recruit, procedurally generated, so you never know what you're going to get. Lots of replayability. Yeah, and it's a lot like the first game, but just with that multiplayer aspect added in, and it looks a bit better. I really dig it. It's really good fun. Really good fun. Anything you want to add, Rich?
Looks quite nice as well, doesn't it?
On the X especially, yeah.
Yeah, the little I played of the first game, it was a bit shoddy. But yeah, this on the X, this looks really nice. I went into it thinking I would get bored by all the different systems because there's quite a lot to manage there. So it's setting up your base, installing different types of facility within your base, whether it's a hospital, garden, kitchen, all this sort of stuff that allows you to access more skills. So it might be developing bombs or repairing weapons or growing food, and cultivating fruit and veg, that sort of thing. There's quite a lot there to manage, but it doesn't feel unwieldy. There's always kind of an easy sort of translation from these systems into what that looks like on screen. So it's just as simple as when you go to sort of look through new buildings and scavenge for materials, it will tell you, right, you just found a big backpack full of medical supplies, and then your character will wear a backpack that has a big icon that clearly shows medical supplies. So none of it feels too convoluted. It's all quite well translated into gameplay design, and yeah, but it just feels like it's not too busy worky. It's just good fun, killing zombies and fetching stuff.
Combat feels good. I like how ranged and melee all feel pretty good and weighty and stuff. And yeah, and I think we need to play some more multiplayer, Rich. It'll be good. For some reason, Joel, you subjected yourself to both the Turok games.
Subjected, freaking dare. Like as a man who appreciates those classic shooters from you know, and that just frantic, fast-paced gameplay, I'm surprised.
Doom or get the fuck out, mate. Yeah. Doom or GTFO. That's the way I say it.
So I went back to the original Turok. Actually, is actually just a really good bog standard shooter. Basically, it's very simple. You just go in, you shoot stuff, and there are some collectibles along the way. It's nice and easy. Turok 2 actually is a bit different how I remember it. It's I used to think it was quite non-linear, and actually it's a bit more linear than I remember in the level design and things. They're a bit kind of labyrinthy in places, but they're still quite linear. It's like you always proceed, and it's an objective at a time. Whereas when I was a kid, I used to remember it felt a bit more like you kind of had a centrally hubby and you kind of branched out from it a bit. But quite the funniest thing about Turok 2 is like on the N64, it's like 24 megabytes. And the download for Xbox One X was like 750. So I don't know what the fuck they've done to it. They've not got HD textures or anything. It's literally just the game ported with a slightly different menu system to accommodate for some of the options they need to put in. But yeah, they're good fun. I've enjoyed them.
Good. That's good. I'm happy.
I'm good.
I mean, I briefly remember playing them on a friend's in 64, so I guess I could. I don't know. Do you think it's worth playing if I don't have the nostalgia?
Yeah.
No.
I don't know. You probably prefer Doom. What I reckon. So I think that would be more. Yeah, Doom or Wolfenstein maybe would be more up.
Oh, love them to death. Quick note, I did like an amendment to the Punch Club review that I put out on Xbox One last year. I played the Switch version. It's the same game. It's still a good game. It's a sort of a management game in which you're managing your character who is a fighter, and you're leveling up and you're getting new fighting abilities, but you're also managing things like exercise and training and a job and eating and sleeping and stuff like that. And yeah, it's still a fun game with lots of like quirky 80s references and stuff like that. It's really enjoyable experience. The only problem I had with the Switch port was that I was expecting some touch controls. Considering there was an iOS version of Punch Club, I thought, oh, cool, I'll be able to just click icons and stuff rather than, having to move around with the D-pad. But they seem to have ported the console version rather than the iOS version. I kind of hoped they'd done a little bit more work to it. They hadn't. It's still a good game. It would have just been even better with some touchscreen controls on the Switch. But you can't get everything, can you? But yeah, still a fun game. I want to touch on Die for Valhalla, though. This is a cool game. This has just come out. And it's a side-scrolling beat 'em up in which you play as a Valkyrie that can sort of possess and inhabit the bodies of these different archetypes of Viking. So, like dual-wielding, like berserkers, sword and shield guys, archers, stuff like that. And you can inhabit the bodies, and then you use them to fight the waves of enemies that come at you. It's got quite a quirky sense of humor. It's got some nice writing. it's nothing to write home about in the story department, but it's enough to give it a fun framing device. The combat feels good. The only issue I had with the combat sometimes is when you're dealing with enemies coming from both sides and they like swarming around you, it felt a little bit slow to switch direction. You know, if you're facing right, you want to switch left quickly. It didn't always do that as soon as I like indicated it on the analog stick. I'd have to sometimes quite pronouncedly, you know, flick the stick across and hold it to do it, which I felt like that could have been tightened up a little bit. A slight frustration. I still had a lot of fun with the combat. It's got a kind of an overworld system where you can pick the nodes to go to and the levels you want to progress to. Lots of replayability. Obviously, there's a leveling system, which I quite like, where you can unlock different perks. And then you have like this rune system where you have like certain points you can then level into each system. It makes much more sense if you watch my video review. It's all shown in the video review as well. But yeah, I dug it as a little side-scrolling kind of beat 'em up. There's not millions of those games available on the Xbox. I think this is a well-made version of that. It's got a nice art style. The possession mechanic adds something different to it. And predominantly, and sadly something I wasn't able to actually do, this is made by a developer that's all about, I believe they're called Monster Couch, I think, or something to that effect. It's all about couch co-op. That's their whole ethos, is playing this in a room with other people. And I didn't have the ability to do that, sadly, for review, and there's no Xbox Live multiplayer for Die for Valhalla. But I can only imagine with three other Valkyries on the screen at the same time, you know, you're possessing lots of all the other archetypes all at once, managing all the ads together, it would bring that sort of Castle Crashers vibe to it, which would be even more of a fun experience. It's fine by itself. It's still really good fun, but in couch co-op, I can imagine the game would really shine, but wasn't able to test that, sadly.
If only you had some friends, Ben.
I mentioned in the review that I am alone. I am a lonely man that doesn't have any friends. It's just all I do is play video games. It's all I do. I play video games.
From A to B by himself all day.
Yeah, and I just talk to you losers online, and you know that's when I don't have online multiplayer as an option. What can I do? I'm screwed. I don't have enough Xbox controllers either. That would have been a problem. I've got how many have I got?
Seriously?
3, 4? I might have. Yeah, I've got 4 now. You mentioned it. Yeah, I do. Yeah, okay. I do. Yeah. You're right. So that's no excuse. I just need to get some friends. But no, Die for Valhalla was a fun game. Richard, for some reason, this is what happened. I saw you pick up Shadow Complex Remastered in the sale, and like your achievements were popping all over the place. And I was like, "Oh, is it on offer or something? Why has Richard picked this up?" And I found it was like £4. I was like, "Fine,
less than that. It's like £2.50.
£2.50. So I bought that. I never beat it the first time on 360, and I found it myself really struggling to put that game down. Like I was really enjoying it. It doles out the Metroidvania-ness really well, doesn't it? It's really fun game. Yeah,
it's clever. I bought it having not been interested first time around because I played the demo, and because it's all 3D in that, I thought, well, I suppose that's an interesting take on Metroid. Let's give it a go. But it's still firmly 2D gameplay. And it ends up with these weird scenarios where you're running through these 3D environments and you can't walk around a desk. You got to climb over a desk. I thought, I ain't playing this shit. That's silly. But I've gone back to it. And yeah, like you say, it's a very well-paced Metroidvania game. Every few minutes, it's doling out something new. So either a new pickup to try and find a way through the environment, whether it's like a hidden vent or a lock that you can open up. There's loads of stuff to find in the environments, but it keeps doling out all the abilities as well. So you get like fast running, so you can run through rocks, or double jumps and triple jumps, rocket launchers. There's loads of different abilities that you can get, and it's not that big either. The map is manageable, so you feel like you're making progress all the time, and like you kind of storming through it. So yeah, from not being that interested because I thought the first opening minutes were a bit silly, I ended up really enjoying it from beginning to end, and playing it today as well. It's got this weird sort of relevance after all the Uncharted games we've played with Nolan North playing Nathan Drake. You boot this up and you think, hang on, he looks a bit like Nathan Drake. And then you figure out it kind of is, because Nolan North is voicing this character too. And it's kind of this weird precursor to the Uncharted series in a way. A bit rough around the edges. And obviously the scripting and the dialogue is nowhere near as good as that series.
Can you even tell me the character's name? Because I can't remember it right now.
No, I can't remember.
Generic dude, number 3.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. But yeah, as a sort of really shit forebear to Uncharted, narratively speaking, it's interesting. But yeah, you jump into this for the Metroidvania stuff. It's well done.
I don't think it's still on sale. I think it's finished now. But no, it was, to be honest, I think there's an approaching summer sale on Xbox coming up. And it's also a game that you can get on Steam and stuff for probably very little as well. Yeah, I think it was well regarded in the last generation. I know a lot of people talked about it back then as well, but this remaster has been available for a couple of years now, maybe 2 or 3 years on the Xbox. And I'd completely forgotten about it. And then, yeah, I saw you playing it, saw it on sale. I was like, go on then. Glad I did. Really cool game. Really, really good experience. It's just a shame it's based off of a book series by Orson Scott Card, but you know, what can you do? Super racist, Orson Scott Card. But hey,
if this is based off a book, I really don't want to read that book.
Yeah. No, I think that's fair. It is kind of like military conspiracy 101, isn't it?
And then he unlocked the power boots. What sort of book is this going to be?
He found a chess piece that for some reason made him do jumping attacks. I don't really know why, but it worked. It was great. Yes, touching on that. Joel, what are you doing playing Zelda, man? Had you not played it already?
Because
never enough Zelda.
Yeah, when you go on holiday,
yeah, that makes sense.
You don't pack your Xbox One X and your 4K telly in your luggage, do you?
You're doing it wrong.
Your Switch, because that's what we do now. That's how you take your gaming on the move. And
I took my SNES Mini on holiday with me. That was good.
Oh yeah, and you even bought a carry case for that.
I did. It's snazzy. It's a snazzy case
because the SNES isn't hardcore enough just in its own plastic shell. It needs a nice soft touch case. No, but it's
fancy.
Zelda, man, freaking amazing. Words just can't describe it.
No.
Still takes my breath away, even so far into it now. 2 divine beasts down. I think I'm just painstakingly exploring every sort of last inch of the. No, I'm painstakingly exploring every last inch of the map, and I've only probably worked my way around 25% of it. But there's just everywhere I go, and even you just go places at different times of the day, and there are different things happening and stuff. And this it's amazing. I'm in love with it.
You'll never get to the end. I've still got some of the DLC stuff to do, but the main game, I feel like I've absolutely rinsed it. But my percentage complete is still like 63%.
And for the record, I know I was checking how long I'd played it a few days ago, and I noticed that it was like, yes, Colonel Red has played this game for 240 hours. So
wow.
that's value for money there for a game. If you know,
impressive.
If you're 66% complete after 240 hours, take that, Skyrim. Like,
you know, and in complete converse to that, Joel, I played about 30 minutes of Laser League. 20 minutes of which was getting through the tutorials, 10 minutes of which was sitting trying to find a game and failing.
Oh, that's sad. That's disappointing.
The
matchmaking was really solid for me on the PC. But did you get a game at all?
No, not a multiplayer game.
Oh, that's really sad because
I then uninstalled it.
The game is amazing. It's really good.
Nobody seems to be playing it on Xbox.
Yeah, that's really sad.
That's weird. It's in Game Pass. You'd think that there'd be a steady stream of people on that. Maybe you just picked the wrong time, but I managed to get some decent games. Probably want to go back and play more. I'd like to play with you or somebody because I just played on my own and had an AI partner, which was probably not the best way to play it. But yeah, I think that's something I could get into.
Yeah,
like,
sort
of. I forget what it's called now. What's the football card?
Rocket League.
Yeah, sort of Rocket League, sort of. Yeah, just jump in for a few games without any commitment, just in and out. Be good for half an hour play, wouldn't it?
I've also now cancelled my subscription to Game Pass, Richard. So
have you?
Yeah.
Oh.
Sure.
I joined. I played all the games I kind of wanted to play, and then sat on it for 2 months, and nothing new really came around.
For me,
like, okay, I'll just cancel it for a while. Then.
For me, what it was is if Sea of Thieves had been more gripping to me, I would have kept it for that probably, but it didn't hook me in at all. And I bought State of Decay just bought it. So I was just like, I'm just gonna play it that way. And yeah, I'll keep an eye out on releases. And if there's games that come out that I'm like, oh, I want to play that, I don't own that. Yeah, I'll just resub. But that's kind of the beauty of it, isn't it? You don't have to. You don't have to. You go in and out whenever you fancy, really.
Yeah, I guess. I'm just. It's cheap enough that
you don't notice.
Kind of just, keep it going without missing the money too much. And I'm finding it a nice way of playing stuff that I wouldn't ordinarily try. State of Decay 2, I was always going to play. Sea of Thieves, I was always going to play. But the other stuff that I've been able to dip into, like standout was Hue and the Swapper and stuff like that I've really put a lot of time into. I wouldn't have played them if it wasn't for Game Pass. So it's good for that sort of thing, just to see what's on there. Even if you don't think you're immediately interested, just download it and have a go. You never know.
I still think it's amazing value for money. For me, what it is I was using the new groups feature on 360, on the Xbox One OS and the Alpha Ring to organize my games and look at my backlog of things I hadn't even started yet, and then games that I'd only done a bit of. And I had like 150 games. So it's like, don't need any more. don't really need Game Pass right now. It's like, yeah, I could play a lot more games here, really, couldn't I? So ones I've already bought.
That is the reason I didn't get it earlier, to be fair. And that's still valid for me, but still.
No, I agree. It's not like I'm off the idea of it. I still think it's awesome, but it's just I'll resub again probably. They'll probably announce stuff at E3, to be honest, and I'll probably sub up then. I suspect is what's going to happen. It'll be completely pointless. I only cancelled it this month, so probably sub again before the end of it. Okay, Grill Up. Is that a Game Pass thing as well, Rich?
No, that was free on Games for Gold some time ago.
Yes, I have played it. I was just surprised to see you playing it recently.
I hadn't played it since it came on Games for Gold, and I played quite a lot of Grow Home when that came out, and 100%ed it. I thought, I still haven't played Grow Up. Let's give that a go. And I've just 100%ed that as well. So there is a lot of appeal in the Grow series for me. It's just
as easy achievements.
Yes, that's one of the reasons. It's nice to just chill out, just about flying up and gliding around planetoids and finding things. It's good. It's relaxing.
It's chill. Joel, you played the Crew 2 beta.
Yeah.
Any good? I didn't bother subbing, even going for that. I was like, I'm not that fussed about trying to get into that beta.
I just went through a period of just signing up for everything a bit and just seeing what would stick. They emailed me back and just said, why don't you join up? So I played it for about an hour and a half. The closed beta. It's okay. It's obviously I never played the first game, so I don't have the.
I hated the first game.
What didn't you like about the first game? Let me see.
Fucking car driving and handling and braking and accelerating. Everything to do with driving a car felt like shit.
Well, it still kind of does, I guess. It's it's very arcadey. It's not realistic driving, handling, or anything like that. It's just.
I don't need realistic. Like Onrush isn't realistic, but like, man, I would like good instead.
It reminds me a bit of like kind of Need for Speedy, undergroundy style handling, I guess.
Okay.
In the feel of the cars and stuff, and I mean, it was okay. It was quite fun bombing around and racing, and then obviously once the race is over, you've just got this whole world to explore. So I started driving around, and then I was just like, oh gosh, bring up the world map. You can kind of zoom out on this world map and pick another event, and it zooms in, and there are some quite nice transitions at times. And during the initial tutorial and stuff, it does this quite cool Inception style stuff where it's like bending the background and twisting it all around and things. It looks really cool. But that sadly is only in the tutorial. Once you're through that, it doesn't seem to propagate through to the real game. So it was okay. It was quite fun. It looks like it's going to be really grindy. You obviously you get given one vehicle in each series for free, but then you have to earn credits to buy the next vehicles. But of course, there's the alternative currency that no doubt you'll be able to pay real money for, and faster unlocks and stuff like that. So, yeah, okay so far.
Okay,
but probably not going to be my cup of tea as a real release. So,
all right, well, fair enough. I mean. I like the ambition of it. I mean, did you get to drive any of the vehicles other than cars?
Yeah, so I did power boating, I did planes.
Were they good? I mean, that was off-roading. None of that's in the original.
Oh, so was it just cars? in the original?
Just cars. Yeah.
So the aeroplanes are they're quite fun, but it's quite difficult to actually steer and stuff. But the levels are pretty, just doing stunts and things was okay. But there's seems to be quite a limited set of stunts, so there's not too much you can do. But just flying around and flying low and stuff's quite cool. The power boating was quite fun, bit easy but funny. The off-roading was quite cool actually. That's just literally a lot of just drive from point A to B, and you're just sort of driving across roads and through backs, through random terrain and up cliffs and stuff like that. So that was quite funny. Yeah. Okay, I didn't realize any of that wasn't in the first one.
No,
so,
that's
yeah.
not new.
The street racing was definitely my least favorite part of it. I guess I would say out of all the other, the off-roading's my favorite. So
okay. And there might have been off-roading in the original. I didn't stick with it that long, to be honest. But I know there was no planes or boats or any of that. So yeah, that's all new.
The technology of it looks really cool, though, doesn't it? I saw some videos of going in and out of the map. Like you can zoom out from street level right out to the map of the states, and then zoom in elsewhere.
Yeah,
the way that it just loads in almost instantly. It's just
so it works two ways. Sometimes it does. Sometimes it's instant, which is really impressive. Other times it does show you a loading screen. So they're obviously trying to do some clever streaming behind the scenes. But yeah, it's pretty. When it does do it seamlessly, it's really quite slick.
Okay, I'll keep an eye out for it. Maybe I should have tried to get into that beta. Oh well. Right. I played a fun little game I got on sale on PlayStation, which is called the Metronomicon. Have you heard of this one, guys?
No.
So the Metronomicon is an action rhythm game. So it's a fantasy set, a role-playing game in which you do combat through rhythm. So it's like Rock Band or something, but you have 4 characters on the screen, and the rhythm actions are all just left, right, up or down. So it's coming down on tracks, and then each of your characters has like a different effect or like a different speciality. You've got the healer, you've got the direct damage guy, you've got the DPS guy, you've got the guy who does the buffs and the debuffs. So you're kind of cycling between them using the shoulder buttons, while really good original music is playing, obviously for the rhythm side of things. And then you're doing damage on the monsters with these attacks and stuff like that. It's very well done. But things like on easy, it's quite simple. But when you get hard, right, because it's all the rhythm stuff is inputted, it's left, right, up or down. You'll sometimes get something like a left and a right at the same time. So what that means is the face buttons on the controller are also mapped to up, down, left or right. So you have to press, for example, left on the D-pad and what's on the right of the PlayStation controller, the circle button at the same time. But you have to sort of train your mind to think of the face buttons as just another set of directional inputs. So that's an interesting challenge, I have to say. And when they're coming down the tracks at like great speed and like you don't know the song, it's like oh, I'm dead. But yeah, it starts easy enough that you don't have to worry about any of that, and you can ramp up, in a good rhythm game should, you can definitely progress through the difficulties and get better at it. You're doing things like leaderboard chasing, but you're also on like a story as well, like as this band of like musical warriors trying to fend off the hordes of sort of rock music loving orcs and stuff with their evil heavy metal and stuff like this. It's all really silly and it's got a nice art style. But if you like different types of action rhythm, which is I really love that genre. I'm a big fan of it, everything from Amplitude to Rock Band really. And obviously me and Richard are big fans of Aero, which is another take on the kind of action rhythm sort of thing.
Again, on sale this week, actually.
Has it?
Yeah, everyone should get Aero.
Yes.
I just want to highlight that even though Ben said otherwise, I am also a big fan of it. Well, you didn't say otherwise, you just didn't say. Like,
you're a big fan of action rhythm as well? Oh, well,
Aero,
yeah. Okay. I know me and Richard have shouted about it a lot, but I'm glad you're a big fan too. That's one of our Game of the Year winners from last year for Best Music, I believe it was. And if we had a genre choice for action rhythm, it would have won that. It's definitely a fantastic game, but we're not talking about that. We talk about Aero all the bloody time, Richard. You've got me on topic. The Metronomicon is also worth checking out. I don't know if it's on Xbox. I've not looked, but it's definitely on PlayStation because that's where I got it on sale.
I love the title. It's a fantastic title.
It's fun, isn't it? Isn't it a fun play on that? Yeah, it's really, really clever. It's got a really like fun, just the whole thing, the aesthetic of it, the art style, the music choice. Again, the music is it's a bit more diverse than say Aero, but there's a lot of electronic kind of dancer type stuff. But then there is some lyrics based sort of like rock and metal and stuff. But it's not licensed tracks. Or maybe it is. I don't know. Like it could be licensed tracks, but from less known artists, you know. But I get the impression a lot of it's made in house as well. But it's of a high quality. I really enjoyed it. So that's my little tip for the week. Are we there, guys? Is there anything else on the list? Anybody wanted to bring up?
There's one other game I've been playing. I played to death. Has anyone played a game called the Talos Principle?
Is this the robots one?
Yeah, so it's a witness-like game.
Yes, I have heard of it. Yeah.
So not quite as thorough maybe as the Witness, but it's an excellent game in its own right. I played it on the PC. It's been on my wish list on Steam for a while, and I got the email that it was in a sale, so I picked it up. But yeah, really good. Like I ground away at that for about 25 hours. I only had to cheat on 2 of the puzzles, but they were post completing the game anyway. Well, post completing one of the several endings that you can get. But yeah, it's really good. If you're into your kind of hardcore puzzlers like the Witness, this is definitely a game you should try.
Cool.
Oh, interesting. Written by the guy who wrote the Swapper.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which Richard really, really enjoyed. Well, Swapper is such a good game.
Yeah, it's got a bit of a similar narrative theme to it as the Swapper does, really. So I reckon you'd probably quite like it, Richard.
What's
I
it
think
on?
you
Is
can
it
get it on the
just
PlayStation.
PC?
No, I think it's on the PlayStation as well, just not the Xbox.
I think that's right. Yeah, I remember seeing it on PS4. I'm pretty sure. Yes. Okay. Well, I think that brings us to the end, just under 2 hours as we are right now of episode 47, the E3 prediction show. I can't wait to see how we do. I'm really looking forward to seeing that Halo, Mario, and Minecraft.
Spencer and Miyamoto, you know it. Yeah. Maybe Major Nelson in there too, just for a laugh.
Just all with guns, because guns sell. That's what we've learned. What about you, Richard? What do you think? I mean, I'm not going to ask you what's the most likely of all the predictions. That's too easy. What do you think is the most likely outside prediction we might get something towards at E3?
Of all the ones that we've talked about today?
Well, whatever you want. I don't mind.
I'm going to put all of my money on Alan Wake 2.
Oh, I'd be so happy. I'd be so
It'd be brilliant, wouldn't it?
That would make me I'd squee all over the place, mate.
It's got to happen, hasn't it? It's got to happen one day. And if it doesn't happen this year, it won't be for another 4 years.
I would certainly hope so. I would certainly hope it does. I mean, I know, Sam Lake is always making noises that hasn't disappeared from their docket, that they are aware that they want to come back to that they set up so much stuff, that the story isn't finished and all this. But, God, I think maybe now is a better time for it. A narrative-driven third-person action would probably do better now than it did then. But now, of course, you have to do so incredibly well to sort of make back your costs, don't you? I mean, the actual kind of winning line was considerably easier to attain in the previous generation than it is now when you're spending that much money on a game. So,
well, maybe it's not Alan Wake 2. Maybe it's a multi-format Alan Wake 1 remastered.
Well, that would be far less exciting.
Remaster it. The remaster.
Alan Wake is currently unavailable, by the way. It's been pulled from stores because of the music licensing issues. You can't actually buy it anymore on Xbox. Okay. So maybe they go back and maybe they sort that out and get that released again. Yeah, maybe. But yeah, I was sad to see when that happened as well. That's a bummer. But what about you, Joel? What do you think? Less obvious, but what are you betting your money on? Like on something you really hope is going to happen, but that isn't obvious.
One thing I didn't mention earlier, I think Pugba might be released on PS4 or be announced.
Yeah, I feel like they kind of have to, don't they? With the way Fortnite is dominating, they need to get onto every platform they can, don't they?
I think it's kind of another obvious one. I think Microsoft never said it was an absolute exclusive, so we knew it was time. So I reckon Sony will go for it.
It hasn't even been released yet on Xbox. It's not even out. I mean, I don't know. I think that console port is tricky. They're struggling with it, so perhaps they'll wait a bit longer until they can shore it all up. I feel like if they had an exclusive, it would be at least while it's in game preview. Like it won't come out anywhere else until it's released. Especially as PlayStation doesn't really have that kind of thing, that whole kind of like in development release thing on PlayStation. That doesn't really happen.
Yeah, fair point.
So they'd have to have it finished, I think, before they brought it out. Yeah, but yeah, they could still do something. I feel like got to do something, haven't they? PUBG. I mean, they are losing traction on a daily basis. Do you know something I didn't mention that I'd really hope to see, and that would be Doom 2. Obviously, Doom 2 is a little bit under threat now because of Fallout 76 and stuff like that, and also Rage 2, which is obviously a Bethesda joint as well. So a little bit under threat because of that, but I still holding out hopes that they're going to at least say, "Yeah, we're making it." That we'll get some kind of teaser to Hell on Earth. That where the Doom Marine back on Earth fighting a demonic invasion. Oh God, I'd be so happy about that. That would make my show. That would. So that's my hopeful outside wish as well. But lots more E3 discussion to come. Me and Joel will be doing nightly shows, as I mentioned at the top of the show or towards the beginning. Yeah, loads of coverage. It's always exciting. I can't wait to be talking to you all then. So it's going to be goodbye from me. It's going to be goodbye from Joel.
Cheerio.
The returning warrior. And it's going to be goodbye from the stalwart, Richard Worrell.
Goodbye. Thanks for listening.
Yes. See you all soon. Ta-ta.
Bye-bye.